On Jay's camera during this, or are we on these studio cameras? We only have to worry about looking at Jay's. All right, we're going live on the Instagram right now. I know we're already live on Facebook and on our .com live stream. We're talking about Sunrise Extra. Brenda's here, of course. Ashley's here. Nina Melhoff, if you've been tuning in to these live stream broadcasts after the regularly scheduled Sunrise show, Nina normally guides the ship.
Yeah.
Nina is off this week.
So are we in trouble is the question.
Yeah, so one of us has to guide the ship. I'll do it today until they tell me that wasn't very good. We're going to have Brenda do it tomorrow. All right.
What do we have on tap today? What are we talking about?
We like to talk about several topics during the Sunrise Extra. The first thing our producer Jessica suggested we talk about is what we did this weekend. I do want to point out, though, the real talky story we have today on Sunrise Extra is the thing that you brought up today in our positive parenting segment, Ashley.
Oh, yeah.
Do you think it's okay for kids to have a TV in their room?
Okay, are we going into this now?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So, I was kind of wondering if this was going to be controversial because I feel like a lot of people these days let their kids have TVs, or here's the thing, we're not just talking about TVs, we're talking about iPads, laptops, any little tablets. So researchers found that kids at a young age, like we're talking, 4 or 5 years old, who had TVs in their room, had bad eating habits when they were around 12 and were less sociable, which kind of makes sense. I get it. But this is what startled me, is that the average 3 or 4 year old watches 32 hours of television a week.
I know, that's huge. But when you think of the bad eating habits, I feel like I want to have bad eating habits when I see the fast food commercials and all those yummy things. So kids see something and they're like, I want that, I want to eat that. I get that.
And it could be maybe because they're sitting watching TV, so they're not getting out and being active.
Right.
That could be part of it. So that was the topic today, is we asked if you think kids should have TVs in their rooms, and I'm looking at the results here. Yeah, 91% majority all morning said no.
Yeah, right. And you mentioned screens in general, but obviously the way we phrased the question today was specific to TVs. Should kids have TVs in their rooms? I had a friend of mine who watches our show every day, Jeff, said that his son actually voted today in our viewer voice poll.
Of course he did.
So I was wondering, hey, are those 9% of viewers who are tuning in saying yes, they should, are those actually kids? Well, in that case, it was a child.
Oh my goodness.
How did you guys handle it? Well, you have kids who are a little older than what the kids were studied in this story, but you guys have been through it. What's your thought?
Not when they were that little. We ended up giving our son a TV, and I think he probably was either late elementary school or middle school. I mean, he's 26 now, so it's been a minute.
Sure.
I don't really remember, but I would not put a TV in a young kid's room because that's what they want to do, especially the tablet. How mesmerizing is that?
Yeah.
You can't get their attention.
Well, listen, normally I would try to follow along on our Facebook Live feed and get viewer responses, but I've attached my phone to Jay's camera. So we've got the Instagram going on my phone right now, the Facebook Live feed on Jay's camera. So if you can look that up, you can still weigh in, you can still chime in our viewer voice poll today. Do you think kids should have a TV in their room? So far, the overwhelming majority of people, 91% of our viewers, saying, no way, Jose. I'll tell you that it's never even been an issue in our house yet. Our twins are now 11 years old. Neither one has ever asked to have a TV in the room. If they did ask that today,
that they don't.
Well, the answer would be no anyway.
Sure, but
maybe they know what the answer would be, so they don't bother wasting their time with that question.
Right. Keep them busy.
And even the tablets, though, that they have, those stay downstairs in our TV room, and they're allowed to obviously go upstairs and go in their room if they want to and use the tablet, but it doesn't stay there. It doesn't have a home there, and they never go to bed with that tablet.
So we have some responses. Brenda, do you want to ping pong a little bit on here?
Oh, absolutely. My eyes kind of went to this one. Jenny Carlson, high school is okay. They are independent, not littles. So the older, the better.
Yeah, Timothy Allen South says no, maybe when they're older. Mary says kids should not have TVs in their room. Michael says no way. So yeah, pretty much everybody's on the same page.
And it's not about watching TV anymore. I remember when I got that TV I told you about when I graduated middle school when I was 14. It was all about, I can watch my favorite shows, or I can watch the Phillies game growing up in Philadelphia in my room. But now it's really kids are going to click in their devices and they're going to play their video games. And you just mentioned that can suck them in for hours on end.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, this is interesting. Patty says, nope, our kids did not until they were in high school. We had dinner together. We sat down and watched TV together as a family. That's a novel idea, isn't it? I mean, everybody's so busy these days running in opposite directions. Sometimes it's hard.
I love when parents, you see these memes when they have they'll have the Wi-Fi password printed each day and they'll change it every day, which sounds like a lot of effort to me. I'm probably too lazy to do that. But I do admire those parents, and they're like, oh, if you do this chore, you can have the new Wi-Fi password. I feel like that's a way at least to kind of curb the access to the internet and whatever they're watching.
We try to apply that at home too, where you have to do something to earn that screen time. I haven't gone so far as to change the password every day because I'm thinking they're not going to get it anyways. I don't have to go that far, but that's a good idea because that would really shut it down. We also in that story, it was a kind of a side note, but it mentioned the national average. On the average, Americans have 2 TVs in their home, which is exactly what we have. We have the one downstairs in the TV room, and we have one in our bedroom, which is so poorly placed, we barely turn it on. Like, I guess we could have hung it on the wall, and that would have been a nice spot to see it from where our bed is, but I was too lazy to do that, so it's over here on this chest, and like we both would have to like roll over on our side and look at it like this.
That's funny.
Oh, I like this. Jonathan Keck says, I had one in my room as a kid, though, but I wouldn't let my kids have one in today's society.
Yeah,
I mean, things have changed. Like, Jonathan, were you like back in the day, there were like 3 channels?
Right.
Like you had to get up and turn it.
Okay, what else? Let's talk about other topics. I know we have a lot of other things.
There's actually a lot to get to. So the one thing that stemmed from this TV talk was, okay, let's say you do watch a lot of TV.
And you watched some this weekend, right?
Right. A lot of people tuned in for Game of Thrones. I was not one of those people. I know, Brenda, you were not one of those people.
No, I have to catch up. I think I'm on season 4.
I tried to watch the first 3 episodes, and I kept getting so lost in episode 3 that I probably watched it 7 times, and I'm like, I'm done with this.
It's a great show. I just fell off.
Too many character lines.
What it made me think, though, and this is something that our viewers may want to chime in on. This may generate some viewer response. Chime in right now. Play along in this Sunrise Extra game. I was thinking, what is that show that you'd felt like you could not miss? When's the last time there was a show on TV that you had to see? Maybe it was a season premiere. Maybe it was a series finale. It wasn't Game of Thrones for me last night, but I think the last time I felt like I had to see a TV show, could not miss it, was the series finale for The Sopranos, and now we're going back about 11 or 12 years.
Because that is what? No, when did that end?
And that ended around 2008 or 9.
And how many years did it run?
Well, the HBO, it was an HBO series, and sometimes it would go 18 months before a new episode aired.
Okay.
So they'd put together the series in chunks and then bring it to you for about 3 months, and then it'd go away for 18 months and come back. So it started, I think, around 98 or 99 and ran until about 2009. And I think in that 10-year span, there were probably 7 or 8 seasons.
Let me just say this, and I think you'll get to this point.
Yeah.
The 90s are like a black hole for me, because I had my son in 93 and my daughter in 98.
Yeah.
I did not watch TV back then.
Yeah.
And now I binge on streaming, so I don't ever have to watch anything in real time.
Evening.
Yeah.
But did you ever feel like you had to, like, I know this is, I can watch it later, but I'm going to make a point to see this at 8 o'clock, say, on Sunday night?
I don't remember it.
The last thing I can remember was, like you, years ago, which was American Idol. I loved tuning in to watch it, but that was before like jobs and the career that I wake up at 2 in the morning. Well, I mean, like these days, like Brenda said, I just stream I have a couple shows. I love Jane the Virgin, Dateline, This Is Us. I mean, I have shows that I watch, but actually, tuning in the evening would have been American Idol, which is a hard one. A long time ago.
You can check to see if people are chiming in. I can admit something to you right now, which is sort of it was a loser move. I'm going to tell you right now. 1998, I was working in Johnstown, Pennsylvania, in TV, the NBC station there. Philadelphia was 4 hours away, so when my 2 days off showed up, I would sometimes drive home. It was a 4-hour drive.
Okay.
And one Wednesday, I made a point to get home as fast as possible to catch the latest episode of Beverly Hills 90210. Like, I remember thinking, like, I got to get home to see this tonight. This is the one where Brenda and Dylan are going to break up.
That's hilarious.
And I remember racing. It was a little further on in the series, but the bottom line is I remember looking at the clock thinking, I got to keep going because I'm going to miss the beginning of the show.
I would never have pegged you for a fan.
I don't know why I like that so much, but I did like 90210.
Nobody's leaving us their suggestions on shows or what they love to watch, except Stanford says, I cannot miss KGW News Channel 8 with Drew Carney.
Aww.
There you go. Funny.
Please continue to pay tribute there, Stanford.
We didn't finish the Game of Thrones conversation. So it premiered last night.
Final season.
And was it 17-hour premiere? Aren't those shows super long?
I
was asleep. Just 1 hour, I've heard.
Producer Jessica said it was just an hour-long show.
I'm sure it's awesome, an awesome show. So should I try that? If I have one show to get into, should I recommit myself?
I'm going to.
Yeah?
Yeah, because my boyfriend has not seen it, so I think I dropped off in season 4 or 5.
Okay.
So we're going to go back to the beginning once it's all over.
When my kids are not 8 months. Maybe in 10 years I'll be able to watch it. So.
I know it's early in the morning. I know you're getting ready to go to work or get the kids out to school still, but I'm asking you to take 3 minutes out of your day and complete a homework assignment. You can chime in right now on our Facebook live stream or Instagram live, our .com stream. When was the last time there was a show that you felt you had to watch right there in the moment? You made it a priority. I'm going to see that show when it airs live and not just catch it on TV. We have a viewer named Katie
says,
chiming
yeah,
in.
Fuller House.
Oh, that's the
New
reincarnation
edition of Full House.
I wanted to watch
I have not seen Fuller House yet.
I love Full House. Jonathan says, my wife and I have been watching The Passage, The Good Place, which is good. That's funny. Superstore, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Jonathan's got a lot of shows.
And then Stanford says, I watch Police Woman and Emergency.
Huh. Okay, here
I
we
was going to say, he's still watching those?
Here we go. Brian Miskimmins. Hey, Brian, good morning. You're in Montana. I know that, Brian. He used to live here. He says the last show I couldn't miss was Walker, Texas Ranger.
There you go. Downton Abbey.
That's awesome.
Marietta, I'm with you. Yeah. Love that. Dynasty.
I've heard is really good. Now it's coming in.
Did
People are
Dynasty
getting
come
in.
on after Dallas? Is that how that worked on Friday nights? I feel like CBS had Dallas followed by Dynasty. And Dallas I actually watched. And Dynasty, that was like, I can't, I was too over my head. I didn't understand the concepts of Dynasty. It was just a little too deep for my
much.
mind.
The Oscars.
Tracy may be the only person who's still watching the award shows live, the Oscars.
That's okay.
I do remember a show that was completely disappointing that I made a priority to watch when it aired live. It was probably 1998-ish again. The last episode of Seinfeld. It stunk. It was like, what a great series. I love that series.
Yeah. And then
what a disappointing final series, or final episode. It was terrible, but it was a show that I remember thinking, like, I got to see that tonight.
Let's ask Joe.
I thought I'd join in. I haven't seen, I've seen maybe 5 minutes of the first episode of Game of Thrones, so never got into it. My favorite show I still watch on reruns is Friends. It hasn't been on the air in over 12 years, but it pulls at my heartstrings every time I see it. Sentimental.
No, you know what? When I don't feel like thinking, when I just feel like sitting on the couch and thinking about nothing and having a blank mind, I'll watch Friends. I'll do it because I know the show so well.
He says The Office, our director. That's a fan favorite. The Office.
That is funny.
How I Met Your Mother. That's another classic in an area household.
That is.
See, I've never seen an episode of How I Met Your Mother. I heard it's great.
It is.
Never saw it.
So you can just sit down on the couch. This is my problem. I can't do it. When I'm at home, I feel like I always get into something else. I never just sit down and
I'm with you.
out.
I have,
Do you?
Yeah, if you have things, you have laundry, you just want to make the house nice and tidy, and I get antsy.
That was why I
do
couldn't
get antsy.
get into Game of Thrones, because I would watch that show and I'd be doing all these other things and laundry and doing this and filing papers, and then I looked at the TV. I'm like, who the heck is that person on the show? Like, I got so lost, so I turned it off.
Wasn't it nice for our viewers to chime in? We gave you a homework assignment, and many of you chiming in today on our live feed here for Sunrise.
Oh man, I remember watching that when I was a little kid.
And Lawrence Welk.
Stanford's got Me TV or something.
Yeah, I think he's messing with us.
But I had a fellow
Welk.
Seinfeld lover, viewer Brian Miskimmins.
Miskimmins, yeah.
Thank you. Miskimmins, a Seinfeld lover. We can dive off this topic if you'd like, because I know we don't have a ton of time in Sunrise Extra. But
keep it moving, brother.
In the spirit of great television, there was great TV yesterday. Yeah. It was broadcast live. It didn't work as well if you waited and taped it and watched it later. You had to be in the moment. But the Masters in Augusta, Georgia, Tiger Woods, in a way it played out at my house because it started early. There was a threat of serious rain there, so they started the coverage on CBS yesterday at like 4 o'clock in the morning our time. I wake up at 6:30 Sunday, I start watching it. My wife was on, what are you doing watching golf? I said, Tiger's in contention to win the Masters. And she says, I don't care about him anymore. Later in the day, after Tiger wins, she goes, okay, I'm kind of into this now because he mentioned his dad coming out to hug him when he won his first Masters in 1997. Huh? Yesterday, he was there hugging his own son when he won his 5th Masters. So that was a moment where people said, man, you had to see that as it happened live on TV, a great TV/sports moment.
But not even like the sports moment. It's just if you look back at his life, you know, like the substance abuse, or, you know, it was the prescription painkillers, the car crash, like everything that he went through. I think people were rooting for that Cinderella comeback story, that you can redeem yourself.
Yeah, he had a very quick downward spiral, and a lot of people are hating him. But I mean, look at him now. I mean, he worked hard. He had that back surgery, he had knee surgery, and look at him. I mean, it was one of those things where you're going to remember where you were watching that event.
I remember where I was watching the first one. The first one, I was sitting in my dorm room at Penn State University watching him make history in 1997, winning his first Masters, his first green jacket. And he's in our generation, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, he's just a couple of years older than some of us, and it was just, it's been really fun to watch how he has transcended the game of golf and then, you know, fallen on some hard times,
Right.
and then just to watch the slow climb back to the summit is amazing.
And even when he wasn't the face of golf, he was the face of golf because no one really took his spot. Usually,
Right.
you know, when Michael Jordan retired, there were some guys that came in, like now there's LeBron.
And Steph Curry now. And,
Exactly. With golf, I mean, there could have been Jordan Spieth who could have been that next guy up. And it's always, everybody's been always in the back of their mind thinking, hey, where's Tiger at?
Joe, do you play golf? I'm sensing.
I play. I'd like to be. I all would like to play a little bit better, but it's just
Sure.
fun to get out there and hang
Yeah.
out with the fellas. You know, drink some scotch, smoke some stogies, and just
Oh,
have
I
a,
see
be
why.
a guy out there.
I get it.
Whether you're into golf or not, you have to appreciate the idea of something happening today, or in this case yesterday, that hasn't happened since 2005, because it was 14 years between Tiger's Masters victories. And we had a couple of people tweeting for us over the weekend about things that happened the last time Tiger won the Masters back in 2005. So when Tiger Woods last won a Masters, Dan Diamond says on Twitter, George W. Bush had just started his second term. Barack Obama had been a senator for just 97 days. Among other things, Destiny's Child had begun its final
Oh my
tour.
gosh. Throwback.
Ladies leaving man.
So yeah, when you bring up Destiny's Child, you realize, man, it had been a long time since Tiger won a Masters.
Been a minute.
Since Tiger's last Masters win, it's actually incorrect there. Russ is talking about the win in 2005, I know. The iPhone was first introduced since then. The iPhone was not even around since, or the last time the Tigers won the Masters.
That was his last. I think 2008 was his last major victory.
Yes.
It was the US
Yeah,
Open
it
and
was.
the-
You're right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then finally, one more. This comes from viewer Nick on Twitter. The last time Tiger won, I had no kids. I just watched him win with my 7-year-old. He said, great sports moment to share with him.
I love that.
I got my kids into it, so they woke up. We had to be at the baseball field at 9 o'clock yesterday, but they got up at 7:30. They come down, Dad, are you really watching this? Yes, I am. Why are you watching this? I said, Tiger Woods is going for the win. And they're like, how far back is he? I said, he's 2 shots back. They said, he won't win. I said, what?
What?
How? What? They always think whoever's winning at the time that they're watching will be the eventual winner.
That poor, oh my goodness, the 2 water shots by the guy that was just Mr. Steady for 54 holes, and then just put 2 balls in the water
Like his name
in the back 9. And
Foreign player.
Is it Francisco?
Anybody?
I can't remember.
Molinari?
Yes, Molinari.
Yes.
Yes. He was the model of
Francesco.
consistency for the first 3
Right.
rounds and a half rounds, and then put 2 balls in the water.
And I think a lot of people wrote Tiger off, even no matter how great he was doing on Saturday, because he was doing pretty well last year, and then he just kind of fell off the charts, and then he just stayed with it the entire weekend.
What about Blazers? You
Oh,
guys, can we
that's
talk
what I
Blazers?
watched.
Big.
'Cause
That's what I watched
that
this
is
weekend.
awesome.
We could talk about the Blazers right now, but I will only do so if you agree to chime in right now. Type in if you think the Blazers will now go on to win this series. If so, and how many games? Or, of course, if you don't think they're going to win, let us know that too. You can chime in all of these live feeds we're streaming right now, both on the KHW Facebook page and our Instagram page, on our website, khw.com. Last week, none of us made those outward predictions that I remember us doing last year when they played the Pelicans.
Oh, yep.
So no one made a prediction. I definitely thought, geez, they're in trouble. They have to play the Thunder. I don't like the way this shapes up for the Blazers, but game 1 was impressive. I'm still not going to make a prediction, but I do know this. They will still be in trouble if they can't win game 2. This is such a critical game for them
I
tomorrow
totally
night.
agree. Well, how about Orlando Sanchez? He did make a prediction. He
Okay.
thinks it's going to be OKC in 6. So I'm worried about the Blazers just because I'm a worrier anyway. But for as badly as OKC played yesterday, it was way too close.
They came. I mean, everybody thought, "Hey, this is a great big lead the first half,"
Yep.
and I know that lead was going to get small by the time the third, fourth quarter came around, and it did. We won by 6 points or whatever.
Right.
I mean, you're going to have to make sure you spread out the lead going forward if we want to have win game 2 on Tuesday, and then going forward into Oklahoma City and the
was a
series.
beast, though, wasn't
Yes.
he?
Yeah.
We have Aaron McCreary saying, yes, they will win.
Aaron,
I
keep
hope
chiming in.
so.
How many games? Because I'll tell you this. Orlando is saying now Thunder in 6. That would mean that the Thunder would have to win 4 out of the next 5 games. I think it's tough for any team in the playoffs to beat someone 4 out of 5 times. I realized the Blazers were swept out of the playoffs last year and the year before. Not impossible,
that.
but also not probable for the Thunder, I don't think, to come back and win 4 of the next 5. So if this series goes the Thunder's way, I think it will go 7 games.
But Damian looked like he was all business
he looked sharp.
yesterday.
He
He
did.
really did, but he was just like stoic. He'd hit those deep threes and then he'd just walk away like he was just so focused. They did not want to be embarrassed again by a sweep.
Exactly right. And then you kind of wonder, going back to Oklahoma City, the Thunder, I mean, how injured is Paul George's leg, his ankle?
Right.
Because he hurt it a little bit. I mean, he came back and was fine, but you don't know if he's just a little rusty because he kind of tried to take a little rest toward the end of the regular season, and now heading into the playoffs, you kind of have to be on your game.
And Russ was icing his knees.
Yeah,
these big things around his knees. I'm like, wow.
Boys, break down. Talk about something. Tiger hadn't won a Masters in 14 years. The Blazers haven't been to the Western Conference Finals. Never mind the NBA Finals. They haven't been to the Western Conference Finals since 1999 when they lost to, or was it 2000, Jay? 99-2000 season.
I remember where I was at. I was at the beach with a bunch of college friends watching that. We were on the edge of our seat thinking, hey, we're going to the championship game. Had we won, we would have played the Indiana Pacers.
And won.
And good chance to win that. And then we just lost it in the fourth quarter.
Okay, Aaron wrote you back.
Aaron says 7-4. I don't know what that means.
You asked the prediction.
Okay, so I said how many will they win in? Maybe he means they'll win in 7 and they'll get 4 wins in those 7 games.
That makes sense. They need 4 to go the game.
Yeah, so that's his prediction.
Series.
But my point was this. It's been a long time. I have not been on TV in Portland the last time that the Blazers had a deep playoff run. It would be fun for the city, for this thing to pick a momentum, to get into the second round, to compete in the second round. And oh, by the way, Jay, am I right? Denver, who they were likely to play in the second round, if they get there, Denver lost their first game. So there could be an upset brewing in that bracket that would allow the Blazers to have perhaps an easier road to the finals. I don't know.
And then let's hope Houston beats, if let's say there's a matchup between Houston and Oakland, the Golden State Warriors.
Golden State,
let's cross our fingers at Houston.
It's like the NCAA tournament. We just want all the lower seeds to knock out the teams in front of us. Give us some kind of easy path to the finals. So if you're following the Blazers, chime in. Doesn't have to be right this minute. Chime in all day. Of course, we're following our feeds on KGW's Facebook page and our Twitter feed.
That's a great photo.
Viewers on Instagram.
Look at it, beast mode.
Aren't they buds, though? Aren't the two of them?
Yeah, they used to be teammates.
Yeah, that's right. They're friends.
Buds, perhaps, but rivals in this particular series.
Absolutely, they are.
And Cantor was huge. I mean, obviously, you think things would be different if Nurk was still healthy and was able to play for the Blazers. But man, Enes Kanter, what a great trade that was now.
Worked out perfectly.
Because he stepped up big with that double-double yesterday. Double-double meaning double digits in points and double digits in rebounds.
Not double-double, cheeseburger, burger.
Although that sounds pretty good, right? I could go for a double-double.
I know. Okay, well, any other topics? Are we signing off?
What we'll do is we'll wrap it up, but can we end with viewer photos? Can we do that, Jessica? Because I want this to be a segment of the people, for the people, and by the people.
Drew for president.
Oh, thank you, Chris. He got 1 vote, he did. That Drew Carney. Here we go.
From himself.
Oh, my gosh.
Photos to wrap up our Sunrise Extra.
That's adorable.
Monday edition. Tulips, this weekend was another good one to check out, the Wooden Shoe Tulip Festival. I mean, the weather didn't cooperate all weekend long, but there were some moments of sunshine. Great shot there. This, of course, down at the coast, Cannon Beach trip sent in by viewer Desiree, her puppy enjoying the beach there in Cannon Beach. We have 2 more to share with you. U.S. world-class Taekwondo, the setting for this picture, sent in by Rob Duval on our Facebook page. Hi-ya! And then this little man closes out our show. Jessica Schmidt sends in this photo. She says that we went searching for a mud puddle to jump in. Those were easy to find this weekend. Rain was still in our forecast. Joe Ranieri, by the way, says Thursday is going to be a fantastic day here in Portland. If you can look ahead that far, perhaps the best day of the year to date.
Yeah, I'm forecasting a high of 72 degrees. Could be the warmest day we've seen so far this month. Not of the year. Back in March 19th, we saw a high of 72 also.
Okay, that's Thursday.
Joe, we love you. Come
Thank
back.
you. I love you guys.
Tomorrow is Tuesday. We have the Sunrise Show for you tomorrow from 4:30 to 7 a.m. and then Sunrise Extra follows. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye.